Welcome. I'm Tracy Smith, and this is Here Comes the Sun, a closer look at some of the people, places, and things we bring you every weekend on Sunday morning. Actor Paul Giamatti has made a career out of playing difficult men, from a cranky wine snob in Sideways to a disgruntled boarding school teacher in his most recent film, The Holdovers. He doesn't mind being known for such cantankerous roles, though, as he told Lesley Stahl of 60 Minutes.
You're often described as the king of curmudgeons, that you play a lot of those kinds of characters in bad moods all the time, kind of angry at the world. Does this bother you that you're called curmudgeon-y?
I don't mind it. I think it's a great word. I often think that I just play kind of complicated people with a complicated relationship to the world.
Later in the show, Paul Giamatti on his favorite scene from The Holdovers.
If we were to pick out one scene, not too long, in The Holdovers, what would it be, think?
For me?
Yes, for you to highlight you.
That's a good question. I mean, I think I don't know if it's the one that, I know the scene I liked the most is when I'm watching the kid ice skate in the ice skating rink. And I take him there and it's wordless, there's no dialogue. And it's just the two people beginning to kind of melt towards each other, warm up towards each other in a nice way. I'm watching the kid be a kid, and I'm realizing he's just a kid in some ways.
Then, from the big screen to a much smaller one in a Paris museum, visitors to the Musée d'Orsay can speak with a Vincent Van Gogh avatar, an artificial intelligence program trained with the artist's own writings and select biographies. Seth Doane struck up a conversation.
How were the last few months of your life?
The last months of my existence were a blend of both hope and despair.
It's remarkably personal.
Yeah, it is personal because this technology really want to recreate the personality of someone.
That's all coming up right here on Here Comes the Sun. Paul Giamatti's latest role as a boarding school teacher forced to chaperone students over Christmas break was written specifically for him. He already had some experience in that world, having attended a New England prep school himself. Lesley Stahl of 60 Minutes sat down with him.
What is it about acting that you love or like? I don't know. Do you love it?
I do love it.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I do love it. And like anything you love, that can get difficult.
Difficult characters are a Paul Giamatti specialty.
I can tell by your faces that many of you are shocked at the outcome.
He portrayed a cantankerous John Adams.
Now either you are stark raving mad, or I am. Good day, sir.
And a brutal U.S. attorney in Billions.
Drop your credentials at the guard's desk and get the out of here!
And in his latest movie, The Holdovers, Giamatti plays Paul Hunnam,
You were born lucky.
a bitter teacher at a New England boarding school.
Sir, I don't understand.
That's glaringly apparent.
I can't fail this class.
Oh, don't sell yourself short, Mr. Coates. I truly believe that you can.
Hunnam is in charge of the students with nowhere to go at Christmas. And he forms a bond with a rebellious kid and the school's grieving cook,
You know he flourished here.
Yes. No, he was a great kid.
played by Davine Joy Randolph, whose deceased son attended the school.
He said you were real.
Well, like I said, sharp kid, insightful.
Someone described the movie as a Scrooge-like Christmas story, with you being Scrooge.
Yeah, it's a little bit of that. It has a Christmas Carol thing. I think all three of the characters are Scrooge a little bit. They all need to kind of move out of a place that they're stuck in.
The 56-year-old's performance earned him an Oscar nomination for Best Actor and Critics' Choice and Golden Globe Awards. So you win the Golden Globes.
Yes.
And you take your award and you go to a burger joint?
Sure.
Are you serious?
Absolutely. But then we went to parties, we went to fancy things, but we got the cheeseburger, you know? I loved it. It's good.
Action.
His role in The Holdovers was written for him.
There's times when I think, why was this written specifically for me? A man who smells like fish that nobody likes? And then I look at it and I go, I think I know.
One reason Giamatti, raised in Connecticut, attended a prep school himself. What in this part was familiar
Most of it was pretty familiar to me. I had teachers that were this sort of strict disciplinarians like this.
You stay out of my way, and I'll stay out of yours.
That's a detention.
Down.
You just earned yourself a detention, sir. Now get back here.
Being here with you is already one big detention.
Son of a... That's another detention.
Did you get in trouble?
I only got in, I was not a big troublemaker. The way I got in trouble, I'm not kidding, was I would cut classes to go read, like, science fiction books in the library on my own. Really nerdy trouble.
Yeah,
is what
totally
I got into.
nerdy.
Yeah,
Wow.
super nerdy trouble, yeah.
That bookishness ran in the family. Paul's mother, Toni, was a teacher, and his dad, Bart Giamatti, was once president of Yale and later Major League Baseball commissioner. Your dad died when he was quite young.
51.
51.
Yeah.
Were you an actor yet?
No, I had just graduated from college, and I was I loved acting. I did it as an extracurricular thing, but some part of me didn't think it was something I would do.
Still, he began acting professionally in plays and later movies.
And I started making a very small living at it. But I was deceived into thinking, oh, I can do this. This is not too bad.
What was your first movie?
I think it was a kind of, not great, kind of slasher movie.
Ah!
Yeah, and I had one scene in it.
I swore on the Bible. And you can go to hell if you swear on the Bible and it ain't the truth.
I've never seen it, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I learned fast.
This too shall pass.
And he quickly landed small roles opposite some big names.
We got stopped by some intense rifle action from the eastward. The Germans have been reinforcing 2 regiments all day. You have violated my wife.
I did
You
not.
soiled the sanctity of my home.
Giamatti has a biopic to thank for his big break. It was about Howard Stern.
You're not getting the phone from me, Kenny. No! Oh my God, Rob! Kenny just hit himself in the face. He's bleeding.
He played Kenny Pig Vomit Rushton, Stern's put-upon corporate handler.
It was a fantastic role. It was a really, really fun part.
Why was it fantastic?
It was incredibly energetic and kind of crazy role with lots of latitude to do lots of crazy things.
You're often described as the king of curmudgeons, that you play a lot of those kinds of characters in bad moods all the time, kind of angry at the world. Does this bother you that you're called curmudgeon-y?
I don't mind it. I think it's a great word. I often think that really I just play kind of complicated people with a complicated relationship to the world.
Aye, aye, Captain, you got it.
Like Miles Raymond,
We're drinking Merlot.
No, if anybody orders Merlot, I'm leaving. I am not drinking any Merlot.
the boozy failed writer and wine snob in the Oscar-winning movie Sideways.
Oh, there's just like the faintest soupçon of like asparagus, and there's just a flutter of like a nutty Edam cheese.
People come up and ask you for wine recommendations.
Yes.
They do?
Oh yeah, and whenever I go to a restaurant, the sommelier gives me the wine list, and I know nothing about wine. Zero.
What?
I know nothing about
Come
wine.
on.
No, nothing. I don't even know which one's what color. So the other day, Chianti, is it Chianti? I don't know what color that is. What is it, red or white?
It's red.
It's red, okay. I see, I thought it was white.
Oh, its flavors, they're just the most haunting and brilliant and thrilling and subtle.
There are a couple of scenes where you're very hangdog, and we get to see that basically depressed guy. And then you smile.
Well, okay.
And you go from being a nerd, a nebbish, to being Paul Newman.
Oh, wow.
With a great smile, handsome. I mean, it does happen in a flash.
But it is that thing of like, it's all here, you know? It's the wordless stuff is the most powerful stuff. Paul Newman, that's really nice
That's
of you
good.
to say.
I
Thanks.
was thinking it, though, truly. Paul Newman had his race cars. Paul Giamatti has a theremin.
I feel like every theremin player in the world is so insulted by what I do.
He was here to record his podcast, chinwag. Why do you do a podcast?
It's a good question. I am interested in strange things, weird topics. But the weird topics can be anything from UFOs to Egyptian history.
I have all different kinds of theories about Bigfoot because he's super fascinating.
Hello. He recorded the podcast before an audience at the SF Sketchfest.
Great, thank you very much.
I'm curious about your technique.
There isn't one, man.
The camera loves you.
Okay.
You're not Errol Flynn.
I am not Errol Flynn.
But the camera
You know
loves
what,
you.
dude? That's my memoir title right there. I am not Errol Flynn.
In fact, in one of his favorite roles, he played no human at all.
I must be out of my mind, out of my mind.
You played an orangutan.
I did.
Oh my God, look at you.
I loved playing an orangutan. That was really fun.
Get him out and get him clean!
I was covered head to toe in amazing prosthetic makeup. And so I was completely transformed, which is, for an actor, is great. Like I just completely changed into a monkey.
It's like you're hiding.
Yes, completely. And I wasn't me anymore. I'd look in the mirror and I was gone.
What's with the hiding thing?
It's an excellent question. It's a very strange way of connecting with other people, I think. It's very weird. I don't know what the explanation is. If I
You walk
knew,
around saying, gee, Paul, you're weird.
I do, actually, sometimes. But I actually think it's a good thing. I enjoy being weird. It's okay being weird. Weird is all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Up next, an exclusive excerpt from Lesley Stahl's chat with Paul Giamatti, something you can only see right here on Here Comes the Sun. Stay with us.
That's where film acting really lives, is no words, just the face and the eyes.
As promised, here's more from Lesley Stahl's interview with Paul Giamatti.
When you are in a movie where the character is so unlikable, and you've played several of those people, do you bring it home? Do you have that horrible feeling that no one likes me all day long for 7 months?
It can, it can feel somewhat burdensome, yeah, sometimes. I think, again, as I'm getting older, I think I'm getting better at letting go of stuff. I think when I was younger, there's a way in which you kind of like it. You like carrying that darkness or whatever with you. You like carrying that stuff around with you when you're younger. And I think you get older and you get better at letting go of it. You get techniques down to let go of it.
Are you a person who has dark moments?
Sure.
Oh.
Yeah, for sure.
In real life?
For sure. I think I'm up and down. I think all actors are pretty moody people. Your emotions are kind of at the surface.
You deliberately bring them up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's part of what you do.
It can be hard, yeah.
If we were to pick out one scene, not too long, in the Holdovers, what would it be, think?
For me?
Yes, for you to highlight you.
That's a good question. I think I don't know if it's the one that, I know the scene I liked the most is when I'm watching the kid ice skate in the ice skating rink. And I take him there and it's wordless, there's no dialogue. And it's just the two people beginning to kind of melt towards each other, warm up towards each other in a nice way. I'm watching the kid be a kid and I'm realizing he's just a kid in some ways, and he's sort of realizing I'm not a bad guy. I've taken him to Boston. I'm letting him do what he wants to do. And so I really liked that scene. It's something beautiful about it, and there's no dialogue, and the music is lovely, and that kind of thing. I just like it.
I'm thinking of all the movies I've seen you in, and your face does tell the story a lot.
That's good.
It's good.
Yeah.
But it's true, without dialogue.
Yeah. That's, I think, what film acting is mostly about, just wordless stuff. That's where film acting really lives, is no words, just the face and the eyes.
I would never want to be an actor because of the auditions. And you have to put yourself out there to be rejected. And it's a big part of being an actor. And I would run away from that, and I don't know why anybody would go to it.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that.
It's for most actors, it's what they do most of the time.
Yeah.
It's your job.
If you're not a waiter, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're a waiter and you're auditioning. Hopefully you're doing both. But I perversely kind of liked it. I enjoyed it in a weird way. I did.
That is weird.
It was weird, and maybe I had a thick skin or something, so I didn't mind the rejection. I mean, I minded it, but I saw it as an opportunity to act. You know, I was like, I get a chance to act. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if I'm going to get the job. I have no idea. So I'd put that aside. So I was like, I'm just going to do whatever I want to do. And I'll have fun.
Up next, an artist coming to life. Welcome back. Tourists flock to Paris's Musée d'Orsay daily to see Vincent Van Gogh's color paintings. But as part of a recent exhibit, museum goers could speak to his avatar, asking him nearly anything about his artistic expression, life, and untimely death. Here's Seth Doane.
With bold colors and dramatic brushstrokes, Vincent Van Gogh, that tortured genius, has traditionally expressed himself through his art. But now there's also his avatar.
Van Gogh, what is your greatest inspiration?
My greatest inspiration, without a doubt, is nature.
He's a tad monotone, but is equipped with a wealth of knowledge.
It is in nature that I find comfort.
Artificial intelligence combs select biographies and the artist's own writings, 900 letters, covering art, relationships, and his struggles with mental health.
As you can see, the interface is quite simple. It's a digital screen and a microphone, but behind this there is months of research in artificial intelligence.
Agnès Abastado oversees digital development for the Musée d'Orsay in Paris, as this storied museum in an old train station finds new ways to engage visitors. Its recent Van Gogh exhibition included a virtual reality experience based on the artist's palette and that avatar, Bonjour Vincent, which allows visitors to pose questions to the artist more than a century after his death.
How were the last few months of your life?
The last months of my existence were a blend of both hope and despair, a tumultuous combination that consumed me wholly. In the end, it was a time of great turmoil, which eventually led to my premature demise.
It's remarkably personal.
Yeah, it is personal because this technology really want to recreate the personality of someone.
Van Gogh was a troubled artist who killed himself at age 37, just 10 years into his painting career. But he was prolific at the end. In his last 70 days of life, he was producing more than a painting a day and dozens of drawings, many of which were gathered at the museum.
You've read those 900 letters of Van Gogh's. I asked the Van Gogh avatar what his greatest inspiration was. He said nature. Was the avatar right?
Yes, totally.
Emmanuel Coquerib is the exhibition curator. He notes this period of Van Gogh's life is marked by experimentation, clouds painted in reverse, blue brushstrokes over a white background.
It's very lively because you still see the gesture of the painter, and you see the flower here, very thick.
When you're this close to the painting, you can
yes,
actually see the paint.
Exactly. We always say it's a painter of color, but above all, a painter of thickness.
The Dutch artist had moved to the countryside near Paris in May 1890 after famously cutting off his ear and spending time in an asylum. He'd come to see Dr. Paul Giamatti, whom he painted.
Dr. Giamatti told him to forget about all your trouble, problems, just work, paint. So all day long he painted.
He followed doctor's orders, painting the roots of an acacia tree at the very end.
He finished it on the day he died. And of course, the symbolism is really heavy. He wanted to marry, to find a house, and to root himself in family life with children. He didn't succeed. And he says in his last letter, that was found in his pocket, only our painting can speak.
But now those letters are speaking through a higher-tech form of expression.
But even though Dr. Giamatti gave me his word, I could not bring myself to believe that my troubled mind could ever be healed.
Some visitors could say this is a gimmick or almost a distraction from Van Gogh's art.
It's another way to enter what we know and all the knowledge about Van Gogh. And what I think interesting about this interface is that it's not us, museum, who choose a theme. It's the visitor who really asks what he wants to know about Van Gogh.
We asked AI Van Gogh about the initial public reception to his work.
It brings me great grief that so many of my creations remain unacknowledged and unsold.
So he recognized that his art wasn't that well received.
Artificial intelligence only hints at the poetry of Van Gogh's writing. He was prolific in life and, as it turns out, prophetic before death.
Though I cannot claim to foresee what is to come, I hold firmly to my conviction that art, true art, possesses the ability to transcend time and stir the hearts of generations to come. To me, the worth of my art lies in its power to reverberate with others and to reveal a glimpse into the splendor and intricacy of life itself.
I'm Tracy Smith. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you here next time on Here Comes the Sun.